All right. So, welcome to This Week at Work Hard. We're coming up on episode 4,
Ooh.
and I am Ryan Haggerty, Director of Workforce Development, and with me today is,
Josh Lucas, Executive Committee.
this is what we do on Friday now. It's our thing. We have a couple different things we just want to touch on this week. There is some events things coming up now that people are getting rowdy with the vaccine. So we have a Work Hard member meetup being planned for the middle of April. I don't even remember. We did like a Christmas party. When's the last time people actually saw each other?
The
in
last
person?
time was Spirit in February at the start of the pandemic, and people were like, should we be doing this? And we went to Spirit and had beers.
Yeah, that was wow. What a different time.
Yeah.
But I think this will be nice. There is going to be potentially some outdoor meeting space being arranged with this, so be looking for some updates from that from Matt Thornton, your events committee chair. Other things in the hopper right now, we do have some more of those awesome Academy Pittsburgh events coming up where you get to learn about chords, apparently audio chords.
There's a running over the court.
People's jobs in tech, which we lean on our alum to kind of share that information because they're out there in the wild, and we have about how many alum you say this point?
What's 12 times 17?
That's a number.
About that many alum.
I want to say it's like 150, 180, somewhere around there.
Let's do the math.
Yeah. So lots of alum out in the wild. We'll get an update on that from our research team here in a second.
So we're around 200 Academy Pittsburgh alum.
Wow. So as you can imagine, they're doing a lot of different things. And in the tech world, one of the biggest barriers to entry is people just understanding like work in tech. What does that even mean when you start talking about these jobs? So be looking forward to that conversation coming up. The only other workshop stuff that we will be planning right now is around live streams. So we've done millions, or I shouldn't say millions, but a lot of different kinds of virtual events. Barrel and Flow Fest is going to be coming up in September, so we do have some events coming up that are acting as a nice warm-up. But just thinking about live streams in general, I mean, people are going to be doing things in person, but a lot of this is kind of documenting this process and this work that's ongoing too for what we do. So I don't know. What are you looking forward to about Barrel and Flow Fest in general, Josh?
I think just interacting with those like second and tertiary relationships that have vaporized in the last 190 days, 300 days. Just seeing folks that we haven't seen in 2 years and just saying, hey, you're still there doing stuff.
Yeah, I will say it's a small tangent here. Just getting back together in groups, doing anything, masked, working, social, whatever. It's definitely a warm up process. My social skill abilities have just like dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that as
No,
well.
I was agreeing with you.
Yeah. Wow. I'm gonna definitely not injure Josh Lucas at Barrel and Flow Fest accidentally.
Sweep the knee, Johnny. Sweep the knee.
But yeah, so in-person stuff happening with that, but obviously all the live stream stuff, people, still appreciate that. So we're going to be doing those trainings. And if you're interested, definitely hit up Tyler Vietmeyer or Ryan Haggerty. We're going to be organizing that and getting people on the same page. My notes are all over the place. Oh, here we go. So I believe we mentioned it a little bit last episode or the episode before that. Those primary contractor agreements. Enlighten us. What is a PCA, Josh?
So if you do any sort of 1099 work for us, you have to sign a contract with us that establishes your rights and our rights and clarifies compensation. Every year we review that document, we edit it, we try to make it more in line with actually what happens here in the ecosystem. That sounds like something that would be easy to do, but it's actually pretty challenging because there's so many different kinds of contractors doing so many kinds of work.
So many.
So next week you'll get an email with a draft. Not a draft. You'll get an email with the new 2021 primary contractor agreement. And to do 1099 work with us, you will have to execute that agreement. As always, with everything we do, you can tell us what you don't like about it, and we can edit it to meet your specific circumstance as required. But for the most part, people will just be able to read it deeply and then talk to their legal counsel as they see fit to execute.
Yeah, and we mentioned this in last Friday's committee chair meeting, but we really tried to simplify that language in there as much as possible while still making it a legal document. New rates are going to be in there, so that's certainly something that you should really take a deep look at and understand because that'll apply to 2021 gigs and probably going into a little bit of 2022.
Right, Haggerty. How do we establish hourly rates, pay rates for different 1099 billing categories?
So we do have a standard we go by. Is it at the national or is it Indeed? Where are we at
It's
now?
regional typically.
Regional, okay. So it's regional salaries and benefits packages. Basically, we'll try to identify a job role that most closely aligns with that service that's being provided. So, for example, videography, that might be a video editor, that might be a person running a camera. We'll always try to defer to the highest rate that we can that reasonably aligns with that service skill.
Average rate
Average rate, okay, for that position.
for
Sorry.
that position.
Oh, I was saying selecting the actual title, like if it's a videographer versus an editor
Correct.
and an editor makes more,
Yes, that's true.
we'll actually select that position to be favorable to our community.
Yeah, so we use Glassdoor and LinkedIn Jobs to see what salaries are for a position,
Yeah.
and then we calculate the hourly rate off of that, including healthcare as an add-on. So we're basically taking a salary with healthcare and then dividing by the number of hours per year to get those hourly rates. So they go up and down a little bit every year based on what's reported in Glassdoor and like LinkedIn Jobs. And then sometimes when that number comes up really low or really high even, we have to make some adjustments based on reality.
Yeah, and one other thing that this brings up that I don't think we've mentioned here or in the Friday meetings as much is there is more like a journeyman level of pay rate as far as someone who's maybe a beginner in system. And there is some expectation setting that project managers have to do around that. So if you are a brand new contractor, the expectation is that you are coming in at that lower rate for now. And then when we work with you on a project, you're being evaluated, you're getting feedback. And if it's something that you can manage as a freelancer without a lot of corrections, without basically taking away from the capacity of our system, which could be a PN's time, it could be losing money on a project, like those sorts of things, there is a point at which you would jump up to that higher rate. But the expectation is right now you'd be coming in at the beginner rate, which is still healthy. We're still competitive in our area, but we also need to be aware of margins and, time on task for what we're asking people to do. Final note with that PCA is there is a likeness release that's now baked into there, correct?
Yes.
There's a lot we had to look at.
I don't recall. I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, so and if you see that, I mean, basically, we do like to promote what you're doing and share things on social media, but we also want to legally have your permission to do that, and that's what that whole clause is about in there. Workshops, events, PCA agreements, and then I think the next bit here is membership. So we have had a lot of focus brought to membership more recently. We have some good committee members as well as a chairperson who's doing a great job of documenting that and making sure the process is moving forward. So what are some maybe items you think are worth bringing up in the process at this point?
I mean, I think membership should be commended for getting reorganized and putting a lot of time on task. The priorities are reflected in the mission. Membership has to constantly adjust how we evaluate new participants that want to participate in the ecosystem, so that not only are we getting technical skill, but also that we're meeting our mission requirement to diversify and build wealth for a diverse community of entrepreneurs and freelancers, and honestly activists and community members as well. So I think there's a renewed emphasis on being able to not only recruit underserved communities, but also retain those underserved members over multiple years so they can earn their units and have some hopefully potential upside some point down the road. To do that well, membership has to be able to express a return on investment for people's time and system. And then we as a community have to make sure that ROI is actually there for, a person of color or a woman or a veteran or someone who's coming out of incarceration. And that's hard. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of energy. hopefully, if funding all happens as we expect it to in the next, say, 6 to 12 months, we'll, I think, commit a staff position to facilitating just that, like organizing and making sure that our underrepresented members have received the benefit that they expected and are deeply involved in the ongoing operational management of the ecosystem.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we've been doing a good job of starting to formalize the way that we're tracking people that participate in our ecosystem in terms of their demographics, which entities they may be engaging in. So there's been a lot of good crosstalk happening within that. For instance, Maddie Love, who's with the digital agency, has been able to track who those payouts are going to. And she's had really good numbers as far as underrepresented people receiving a lot of the 1099 income that's being generated by the agency. And the idea could be that some of those people might be interested in membership. So, as much as we're trying to figure out better ways to engage just more diverse participants, I think we are also discovering like where in system we can make these connection happens, which just speaks to the work that the people providing this oversight are doing in terms of like making it available and just continuing to have conversations with each other. So, I think those are all the big bullet points for this week. Other than, did you speak to the building? That might have been the one thing we didn't talk about, Millbridge.
So we had to do some significant roof work on the new building 120 Millbridge. The ice dams have busted open all the seams. So that's inevitable, I guess, to some point. The issue is that we're facing, it's a cost benefit analysis about like completely replacing that roof or raising the funds to build a third story for office space on that building. So we're trying to work with the architect and the actual practical realities of our cash flow, as well as the existing structural realities of that building to figure out like what the best path moving forward on that roof's going to be. So, the real estate committee, like all committees, needs human capacity. I would encourage people that are, a little bit removed because of COVID or whose participation maybe has dropped off over time to come check us out again and see where you can contribute and hopefully find value in the community and not just monetary value, but like the relationship value that so many of us have lost because of the pandemic.
Yeah, and we do miss you, and as noted earlier, our social skills have diminished as well. So there'll be a lot of awkward elbow bumping and other things we'll try to do, but we'll make our way through that.
I mean, I pretty much just pick my nose willy-nilly now. Like, that's probably something I should fix.
Wow, I'm glad that I can't see your nose right now.
Yeah, I feel like that joke bomb, so I'll stop trying to be funny.
Little raw. That joke was a little raw. Wow. So here, I'll throw one out for you. So, dad joke of the week. What do you call a bear with no teeth?
What do you call a bear with no teeth, Ryan Haggerty?
A gummy bear. That joke was told to me in an emergency room after getting stung by a lot of yellow jackets. It made me laugh then, too. So that's this week at Work Hard. Once again, I'm Ryan Haggerty, your Director of Workforce Development, and with me is
Josh Lucas, and sitting off camera is
Tyler Yetmeyer. He's also doing the chair for production committee and does a lot of wonderful things in audio. So we'll have more for you in episode 5, and be sure to check us out. You can find us on not Libsyn or Libsyn.
Yeah, well, there's a Libsyn page, Spotify, and our YouTube.
So Libsyn, Spotify, YouTube, and that YouTube has chapter markers courtesy of some of our production team. So we'll see you guys next week.